Right. So I want to show you how uh, very, very like advanced calligraphy looks. So that is the it's like the grandmother of all cursive scripts. I want you to see that, and then I'm going to show you how you can make something also simple. Start off with something that's simple so that when you grow older, if you feel you want to take the calligraphy scripts up, you want to practice it, then you can do it. And honestly, it does not have to be only if you're going to become an artist or a calligrapher that you learn this. You can learn it just because you enjoy it. A lot of people out there are engineers and doctors and doing a whole lot of stuff, but they like writing very beautifully, so they've learned the script and they can always write very nicely. Okay, so I'm going to show you. We'll start off with the tools.
In lettering, there are no limits. Like you can think of anything, you can make it bold, you can design it, you can do anything with lettering.
Absolutely. And there's so many uses for it. I love lettering. So I'm doing lettering all the time, all over. So
And
I
I heard that calligraphy and cursive are totally different.
well, I was telling you, calligraphy that you talk about is they're all related. They're all like grandparents of each other. So I'm going to give you a simple timeline over here. Do you know what a timeline is? A timeline is like historically what scripts we've had, and then what has happened of those scripts right now. All right, so you can write a few things down if you want. You can draw what I'm drawing without, even if you don't have the tools, that's fine. But you can draw just to note things down. So here we have a timeline. A timeline tells you the history of, so in this case, this timeline is going to be a history of letters. So I'm going to start this timeline from about 2000 years ago. Years ago. YA is years ago. And 2000 years ago, there was a script called the Roman script. And that looked somewhat like this. A smaller pen. Now, before I write any letters, I'm first going to make a baseline because I want my letters to sit straight on the paper. So I want you to see this. You don't have to write it, just observe how I'm making these letters. The Roman letters were so beautiful that even today we use them for formal lettering. See? So beautiful. So this was about 2000 years ago, or maybe 2000. Yeah, this is the prevalent letter script. Then about now right now it's what 2100. It's about 15. No, let's see. About 1000 years ago, a lot of things happened in 1000 years, and we arrived at a script called the Gothic script. So that script was written like this. It's very interesting. Maybe I can use this.
Ma'am, we can't see how you're forming the letters.
I'm not forming the letters, I am making a scale. I'll explain to you. So the letters were written according to a particular scale. And at some point we'll do this also. So this scale was written on the side of the books. So I just take my pen and make short strokes like that to get a scale. And my scale is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pen widths. Just the width of the pen. And the script looked somewhat like this. So I hold the pen at a 45-degree angle and I make these beautiful strokes like this. And I'm getting these shapes just by maintaining the angle of the pen. I really don't have to do anything. See what a clever way of writing letters they devised. So the Gothic scripts came about maybe 1200 years ago to 600-700 years ago. So let's say around 1000 years ago we had Gothic. Then after Gothic, around maybe 500 years ago, there was a script that was written like this. This was called the English round hand, which was written with a nib or a pen which was broad like this, but it made beautiful shapes like these. See how this is looking like cursive? So this is round hand. Now after round hand, when people realize that we can write the script with something else, it does not have to be written with a quill like that. So somewhere around maybe 300 years ago, they finally developed a handwriting that was more cursive. That began to be written with a pen that looked like this. So it wasn't still called cursive. There were multiple scripts, of which one was in the Americas. That script was called, let's call it engrosser script, which looked somewhat like this. Now I want you to just watch me Don't try to write this while I'm writing. Watch this. Watch how I'm doing this. So I can make the same thick and thin strokes, but I'm making these by using a steel nib. The earlier nibs used to be made from feathers. The steel nib could last much longer. The feathers would last maybe a week or so. So this is the engrosser script. Isn't it pretty?
Very pretty, ma'am.
Now this became a little tough for everyone to write. So maybe about 150 years ago, by then even pens were developed. So about 150 years ago, they started what is called a cursive hand. So the cursive hand looks like this. You have lots of different types of cursive. Which just means that you join the letters to each other. And this kind of writing is neat, clean, fast to write, good to read, but needs a bit
Easy.
of practice. So you see the difference between all these? One big difference is that these three hands, let's say, okay, these two, the letters are not connected. There's no line connecting the letters. In these three, there is a line connecting the letters, and that is what makes it a cursive hand. Cursive just means something that is running, that is continuous. That is what cursive means. Okay, now I'm going to show you one kind of cursive hand. So if you are used to writing in print, which is like this, there are two kinds of lettering style. I'll show you. This is cursive, and what we do now is writing in print. So print is written like this. So I think I can write that as now. We write in print. But even this can be made into very beautiful writing, and it can also be converted to cursive. And once you're comfortable writing in cursive, then you can learn engrossers, and there's a whole family of scripts that you can learn like this, and then learn this, and then finally Roman. And then you'll be able to learn the more complicated letters. Hi Rohan, is your Wi-Fi stable now?
Yeah, it was acting up for a little bit. I just used a hotspot.
All right. Okay. So I will be sharing this recording later, so you will get an idea of the history. But just to give you an overview, I was showing you a timeline of how scripts have evolved. You first had Roman script about 2000 years ago, then a Gothic script 1000 years ago, which moved to round hand 500 years ago, an engrosser script written 300 years ago, and a cursive hand 150 years ago. So these scripts were written with different tools. You had uh, you had maybe a tool like this, which is a reed pen, which is made from some kind of bamboo. That was for Roman. For
Ma'am,
God,
where do you get all this from?
oh, I just collect this. Then you have a feather. This is not the right feather, but I just collected a feather and I tried making a pen out of that. But this is very specialized skill. So someday I'm going to learn this. So Gothic and round hand was written with feathers. Engrosser script is written with a steel nib. and a cursive hand was written
Mhm.
with a pen. So tools have changed because the use of writing has changed. Now we write a lot. In this time, there was hardly anybody writing anything. My feather wants to fly away.
Ma'am, even like I guess with the different stuff that hadn't been discovered, like Roman, it was just like a stick. Then they,
Correct. Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm going to show you how to write an upright cursive hand. So for upright cursive, I'll first show you some terminology. Let me make some lines first. So you have one line, which is the top of the letters, and then you have a bottom line, which is where the letters will sit. So the bottom line is called a base line. And up to the point where your small letters are going to sit, that is called an X line. Then below this, you will make one more line, maybe the same height, maybe a little less, maybe a little more. I'm making it a little less. This is called the descender line. That is anything that descends or comes down from the baseline. And about the same distance from the X line, I will draw an ascender line. Now for today, you can decide on whatever height you want for this, but there is generally a proportion for these letters. Like look at the Gothic script. I have measured 5 pen widths for the X height of letters, that's the height between these letters, and 2 pen widths for the ascenders, 2 pen widths for the descenders. You don't have to remember any of this. I just want you to understand this, okay? That sometimes letters are in a proportion. Now, in this, suppose we write, yes, Abir, go ahead.
Do we have to write the Roman, Gothic, and then?
No, you don't have to write it. I just want you to see it and remember how it looks. And it's okay if you don't remember it for more time also, just so that you know there were different kinds of hands over so many thousand years. Is that okay? All right. Okay. Now, in this, suppose I want to write my cursive hand. I'm going to write the first few alphabets in a colored pen. So let's write very carefully, very nice A, B, C, D, E, as much as you can write. So, or do you want to first see? Actually, first see what I'm doing and then you write. So I make my A like that first, an oval shape, and then a shape like this. A, then I write my B, and C. So if I want to convert this into a cursive letter or lettering, all I need to do is give them a line in the beginning like this. This is called the entry stroke. And then I have to connect the letters. So wherever the letter ends, from there I have to take a line like this and just connect it to the next letter.
And that's not how cursive B is, right? Cursive B looks very different.
There are many different ways of writing letters, and this is also perfectly fine as long as your letters are joining. So with letters, there's lots of flexibility. If you are writing a cursive B according to a particular script that you're writing, then you'll probably write it like this. Oh, why am I using a fresh paper for this? Yeah, you can probably write it like this. You come down and you make a letter like that. Correct. But you can also write it like this. See? They both work. Now, this is a fun way of doing letters. So even if you don't know cursive, you can always make these letters and then join them, so long as you leave the same amount of space between the letters. So let's say we want to write the word cursive. I'm going to write the word cursive over here. I will just write a C, leave a little gap, U, leave the same amount of gap, R, S, I, V, and E. So even this, which is print, like this, looks nice if you write all the letters even and the space is perfect between all of them. But you can make it cursive by adding these lines. So everywhere we're just adding this line. For the U, you have to bring the one line down and go to the top. For R, you go from the side. See here, maybe we can add a little more space. Or we can change the letter altogether. So in cursive, your R will look like this. And S will look like this. So that is how the script changed to accommodate whatever you were going to write. Yes, Rohan. You have a question, Rohan?
Ma'am, not a question. Yesterday I had made like a cutout of my name in like a comic script. I just wanted to show you.
Oh, sure. We'll see it in the end. Wait.
Yeah.
So let me finish this and then we'll see it in the end. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do this cursive. I'll give you a cursive hand like this, not this way. So for that, first we will write a whole lot of, make a whole lot of lines, which are all parallel lines. And just make two lines. So make the base line and the X line. And in this, I will give you the alphabet. Actually, I think we can write more. Okay, so let's first write the small letters. So here's what you do. You go up like this, then lift your pencil if you can, or go to the other side and make an oval or a circle, and then you come down. Can you do this? Normally when people write cursive, this is how they will write the A. They will take a pencil, go all the way to the other side and they will not pick up the pencil, but you don't have to do that. You can pick it up and make your letters like this. Okay. Then we won't write B. The next letter we will write will be a C. Then we will write a D. So the D is just like an A. You make an oval and then you draw a line from the top. And don't make it too tall because it does not look nice. And D will not have a loop. So Kyra and Abir, are you able to lift your hand and make all these strokes separately?
Yes, ma'am.
Good.
Ma'am, I'm doing it without lifting my hand.
No, I want you to lift your hand because not lifting is fine for school, but when you want to do something artistic, we want to be able to control the stroke. So try making this lifting the hand.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Now, what are the other letters which have ovals like these? You have A, C, D. What can be next?
O.
O, correct. But before that, let's make a G. So G has a nice little bend, and all of them have this little stroke coming out from them. This is called the exit stroke, a stroke from where the line exits the letter. G, then we have Q. So again make the oval, lift your pencil or pen, and this time loop in the other direction. Okay, now let's move to the next line. I'm going to reduce the height of my letters just a little bit. Alright, first letter I. So in I, we want this line, the entry stroke, to go just like the A. So we have a slight triangle shape here. But that triangle is not like this, it is like this. The line that comes down is straight and the line that goes up on the side is a slightly crooked line. See, like this. This goes crooked up to about halfway above this, and then you make another line that comes straight down, and then this is the letter T. So the T also does not have a loop. See how this triangle looks like it is a right angle triangle. It's not an equilateral triangle. That way your letters will always look like they're standing up. Otherwise they'll look like they're leaning to the left.
Ma'am, V.
We'll come to that. Then you have U, which is just two eyes connected to each other. Then we'll make a W, which is again, that's where the word comes from. Double U, the one U, two U's. But you don't bring the line down. Here, you stop the line on top. Make a tiny loop. Don't make a big hole here. And extend the line outward. So now there are some letters like this where your exit stroke goes from the top, not from the bottom here. So those letters we will identify later.
Ma'am, I know another letter that exit throat goes up.
Which are the letters? Tell me.
V. I just know one more. V.
You are right. And let me show you how to make that V now. So for V, we don't start the letter like this, but we start the letter from top like that. Make a zigzag line like this and an exit stroke exactly like how Abir had said. So both V and W have the same exit stroke. Alright, now that we are making this stroke that is a bump, let's make the letter N, which is also like that. And a letter M, which should have been called double N, but it is not. So here you
That
might,
just looked
yeah.
scary. M.
Why is it a scary M? Does it look like a spider?
It looks like a silkworm's cocoon.
Really? I have never seen a silkworm's cocoon. Wow. Okay. Okay, making these lines slightly thinner as well. Right, now let us write the ascenders. So two ascenders or short ascenders are here. Now the next letters are going to be ascenders. And which letters are ascenders? Tell me.
What's the meaning of ascent?
Sorry, yes. Ascenders are letters that have some kind of stroke above X line. So these letters don't have any strokes going up or down. But the D has a stroke going up, right? If we don't draw that stroke, the D is going to look like an A. So there are four more letters other than the D and T where you will write something above in the space above.
Why isn't D and T an ascender?
They are ascenders, they're just short ascenders.
Oh.
Okay, here's one. Now see how I make this stroke. The loop is made like this. I first make an entry stroke and then I make a loop separately. And see again, this triangle is like this. It's not like that. So our letter L will stand straight. Now we can make a B like Sia was saying. And every time I go up, I don't make this. You can make the loop continuous also, but I like to make the loop slightly bigger. And then you have the H like this. And for the K is a little complicated. I want you to see this. So it's like the H, but it goes out and you almost draw like a petal shape. And then you come out like a small H over here, and then you pull your line up.
I just got confused, like looking at someone's cursive writing. I was like, is that an R or a K?
Oh, this is a K. And we'll
Yeah.
write R very differently.
R is that one with the flat.
Yeah, this flat green thing we draw.
Mm.
Okay, now that we have drawn ascenders, we will draw what? Now we will draw some descenders here. So the first descender you should learn is the G. So you take this entry stroke up and you make a loop at the bottom, and as you can see, we've already made a G and a Q. The loop of the G and the J is exactly the same. Then we'll make a Y. So the Y looks like this. For a cursive hand, you make Y come like this. You make this compound curve shape, add a J curve to that, and this becomes your Y. Then we will have a Z. Now the Z is quite interesting. I make a shape like this. I go around and make a shape like this. See, it's almost as if on this oval I've gone to the other side. You can imagine an oval here. And then I make a horizontal loop here, very tiny loops, not big holes over here. Those big holes don't look nice. And then come down and then make the same kind of loop that I see in the Y and J. So when we practice as calligraphers, we practice to make sure that all our letters look very, very alike. So look at this. My Y has become a little short. That's not good. The Z and J are very good because they are the same height. The L has become a very wide loop, though the B, H and K seem to be nice. So they all have to be uniform. Now there's one letter which has ascender and descender. Do you know what that letter is? That's the letter F. So what you do for the F is make a loop on top, bring it down almost like the stroke of the H, but just take it down a little bit and make a line coming out from there. This is a nice simple F, and this F is shorter than the Y, Z and J and G and Q. Rohan, you're writing, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. All right, so now your hands are moving well. So I will show you the the O, which is just an oval shape like that. And this also has a blind loop. Now these are called blind loops. And then exit stroke. Now see, my blind loop is not on top of the oval. That can look very ugly. But it has to come out from here. So it's just a tiny oval shape on the top right, like 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock on the oval. Okay, next letter, the letter P, which is just a stroke like this. You have an entry stroke, a straight line, and then from the bottom, you will take a line up, turn it out halfway, and make this arch. This is called an arch.
Ma'am, what letter is this?
This is the P. Now here, up here again, we will make the E. So to make a good E, you first make a C. And then you join the loop like this. So you don't get very narrow E's like that. This is fine, but it doesn't really look nice. Sometimes if you make it too narrow, it will look like an A without the dot. But when you're drawing cursive, An E like this looks good, so you can start from the loop, or you can make the bowl first and then make the loop. Then it looks nice. At least the shape is crisp and visible. And now the last two letters, which can be a little...
One of the is X.
Sorry?
One is X.
One is X. Yes, you're right. Which are the other two? You'll figure it out. Go over the
R.
other two here. Yes. And
Letter R.
R and X and what else? One more.
Y. Oh, I didn't see that.
S.
Correct. So these are the tricky letters because they don't fit in with anyone else. They are all very unique. So you have an R which is written like this. That's why I'm writing it separately. So for the R, you take your entry stroke up, make a small blind loop on top, then make a horizontal line. Don't make it like a sagging line, and then you come down. So this is an R. For S, you do the same thing, go up exactly like the R, and don't make a very big line on the side. Just make a very subtle line like this and an exit stroke. So you'll have to pick up your pencil here for the exit stroke. And this is one of my most favorite.
Next, the X. The X.
Yes, that was my most favorite letter to make when I was in school learning letters, because it looks like this, just like how we made a shape for the Z and a C.
You can also just do the ones that you do in algebra, which go like really fast, like
Yeah,
that.
crisscross, correct. Okay, so now that we have all these letters, now you can take either a sheet of paper, or in the back of this sheet, you can try writing all the letters together. And as a rule, whenever you're writing cursive or you're writing hand lettering, you should never write long sentences like the whole page. Never. You should not write a line that is bigger than about the size of half of your hand, like your fingers and up to here, just about so much. 6 inches is all it should be. So I think I will be able to write this in 3 lines. One second. Sorry, yeah.
He needs to know what it is.
Oh, books.
Books.
Okay, let's start writing now. Now, if you want to look at these letters, then take a separate sheet of paper and keep that in front of your letters. Like, keep your letters over here, keep your separate sheet over here, so that you can draw the lines and write from these letters. But I think I will be able to do it without looking, because I do this every day. So now we have to practice connecting these letters. A. Now when the A comes out, you write the B. So you have to remember to make that loop on the B. Go up. Now we have to do this very slowly. This kind of lettering you should not do very fast. There's no virtue in speed writing anymore. Then go out into C. And our practice has to be that all our ovals look almost identical. The space between the letters is identical. The heights of the ascenders and the loops are identical. So funnily enough, hand lettering that looks like as if a machine has done it looks very impressive. But a machine made lettering does not look just as good as handed lettering.
Ma'am, honestly, made by a machine is basically made by a human, because in the end, if something was made by a machine, first it was always made by a human.
Correct, that is true. As of now, machines still can't make anything that humans don't tell them. That's a good thing.
Artificial intelligence doesn't even know how to solve mathematics.
That is true.
Actually, it does.
Yeah, it does. There's a whole website called Math GPT.
Yeah, but that somebody has programmed or GPT
But
will.
ma'am, there are sentient robots now. They can be used for fighting. They stop you if you try to turn them off. They think for themselves.
Wonderful. That's all we needed.
That was sarcasm, right?
Yes.
Thank goodness.
Now remember, for you,
The funny thing is, I had just seen a movie about like robots and stuff. So
and was it
it was
funny?
like it was a new movie actually.
What was it called?
Actually, Uh, it was something like, let me see, wait, I forgot. Uh, yes, The Electric State.
The Electric State. Oh, okay. I'll look for it.
Yeah.
Okay. Kyra, Abir, are you able to draw this? I think you should be able to.
Just a bit slow.
Yeah, take it as slow as you want. You can write this till tomorrow morning. I have no problem with this. Those who learn or become good at writing slowly start writing the letters better and consistent, and one day you'll be able to write fast, but your letters will always remain consistent. Yes, Sia.
Ma'am, I think the reason the letter M isn't called double N is because M comes before N.
Maybe. And then nobody thought of calling N single M.
I guess they could have called N half M.
Maybe they could have. But you know something, when these letters were invented or used in 2000 years ago in the Latin alphabet, they didn't have certain letters. They did not have a W at all. They had a U and a V. They did not have J, and they did not have, I think, an X, was it? Or no, they had an X, of course. They counted in X's. One more letter they did not have, or two more. So later on, as languages started adopting these scripts, they said, "Look, we have a different kind of V and W sound, so we want two letters." So then the scribes must have said, "Okay, how about if we just write it twice? That means it is the soft sound. If we write it once, then it is the hard, sharp sound."
You know, the Korean alphabet is the easiest alphabet in the world. It has 23 or 13 letters, and like its letters are by the shape of the mouth. So, like, letter M is a line and a rectangle. So
Wow.
that's the shape of our lips when we say mm.
That is so clever, very clever. We must learn Korean.
Which language?
Korean.
Oh, okay.
I think.
So that's
Yeah, it
fine.
could be. Find out now. See, yeah, find out some more about this. Okay, now if after you've known this, now do we have time for me to show you the capital letters? Because that'll be very fast. Most of the capital letters are exactly like this, like your regular capital letters. Shall we? And with the capital letters, we will write small letters also. So in the places where the capital letter joins with the small letter, they will join. If they are not supposed to join, then they will remain separate. Okay, here we go. For cursive writing, the big A is pretty much like the small a. I'm going to give you two options. So you can write an A like this, and that connects to the small a. Or you can write an A like this and does not connect to the small a. Your small a will have a separate entry stroke. Now the B is written like this. This is a cursive B. And the loop from here can be joined to the next letter. Isn't that beautiful? Now this is an option. If you want to, you can join it, or you can just leave the main B like this and not join it. That's also fine. Then the C is like this, and that can join your C. Okay, now the D is a little tough. So I want you to see how I make the D. C, D. Okay, everyone, will you watch? Abir, watch this, huh? Because it can get confusing. Kyra, you also watch. Don't draw this. Now look at how I'm making this line. I start from the top and I come down and I loop and then I go up and I come down like this, to which I can join my next letter. So this is one very long stroke, but it looks so beautiful. I would really like you guys to practice this. Then later on, when we want to write a very sophisticated D, you will know how to do it much easier. Like this, I'll show you. See, this will come a lot easier for you if you practice your D like this. Alright, next. The E is written like an inverted 3. The F is written like the D but from slightly lower, like this, and it has a loop like this with what is called a crossbar, and this does not join our F. So all the letters that you write after F, they don't have to join. Okay, then the G is like that, just like the C, but you make a descender, not very long, and then it comes up and joins the next letter. Is everyone with me? Am I going too fast?
Yes, ma'am, we're with you.
I'm just on the previous letter.
Okay. Okay, another 10 minutes and we'll be done. Now H is also going to be a little like D. Just watch this. I love this letter. So you start from the top like we did this stroke for the F. Everyone watch this. Don't draw. Just watch it. Then you come down like the D, but don't go to the side. Go up like we do a loop over here and make a loop like the ascender loop and come down. Look at that. Isn't it just so adorable? I love H. And the same loop we make for the minuscule H. Then you have an I. So for I, again the same shape but not from up there. It starts from down here. It goes up like that and rolls and comes down and makes a loop right here. Goes to the next letter.
Ma'am, it's 7:32.
I know. Do you want to stop and we can continue next?
No, ma'am, please continue.
All right, that's what I said. If we can go on for 10 minutes, let me finish this and then we will end class. So if you're going very slowly, then you can stop and watch me. I'll share the recording with you and then you can practice from that. So this is I. J is exactly like this, but its tail comes down. J. K is like the H, the same stroke, but you don't take it up, so you make it like the F. Flower petal, tiny H, and out. Okay, L. L is like the D, but you start like the C, come down like the D, and then go outward. And sometimes it's good to not attach any letter to the L because it's got such a lovely curve that just gets hidden. So you can leave the L just like that. Okay, M. The M starts with a tiny loop on top here. It's like just a big brother version of the small m. But you can also make it, maybe, how can you make it? No, forget that. We can make the n like that. See this middle line? I've made it straight. N. O is like that. See, it's open. And small o. So this O does not join any other letter other than maybe T or ascender loops or something like that. P. And another P is like this. Just like the B over here. Okay, Q. Q is like an O but from the opposite side. So you can start like this. So it looks like a 2. And Q also really does not connect to other letters. R can be exactly like this P. So it's like this. And R does connect to other letters. Or it can be like this P, which is like the B. And you can choose whichever one you want to write. S and S. T is like the F. You just have to be careful if you write T. If you have a friend named Tia and you write her name like this, she'll say, oh, this looks like a J. So in that case, what I do is, I like this flourish on top, but I will keep the main stem at the bottom straight and make it like this. So then there's no confusion. All right, next letters. U, V, W, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Are you all watching? You are, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, U is like this. The second part of U does not go all the way to the top, and that does connect. The V is pretty much like the U, but it ends on top like that. So it does not connect. Same thing with W. Now for the X, you can make shape like that, which looks half like a Q, and that to C. Yes, Abir?
My hand just accidentally just pressed.
Oh, sorry. Okay. And then you have Y, which is like the U, but instead of going to the right, it goes to the left. And the Z is just a big old curve like this. I have lifted the baseline a little bit. It's not that low. This comes on the baseline. Okay, that's it. Just 10 minutes over. I'm going to share this with you and you can watch the video so you can start practicing. And sooner or later, you should be able to write your names. But always remember, always draw the baseline and the X line. Unless you draw those lines, don't start writing so that your letters don't become big and small and big and small. And then that's the beginning of a disaster. Always start well prepared. Well begun is half done. Have you heard that before? Okay, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed.
Yes, ma'am.
Good. And I hope to see your cursive letters sent to me on the group. Okay. All right. Bye then. Good night.
Good night, ma'am.